Have you ever thought about being a lifesaver? How about a chiropractic lifesaver? Now that concept may sound strange to you, but we're going to talk about what that actually means, because I know from experience that chiropractic absolutely saves lives. And in order for you to understand that, we need to go into the essence of chiropractic. What is this thing called chiropractic? And chiropractors start off with a different premise. We acknowledge that there's this incredible intelligence inside of you right now at all times, always working, and always working at 100%, okay? And so every single function, from your heart beating to your lungs, to your liver cells working, to your big toe, are all coordinated and orchestrated by your nerve system. So I'm sure you haven't been thinking about breathing right now, right? Because if you did, you'd be in trouble. So now that's just one part. The second part is that intelligence runs over and through your nerve system. Okay, that nerve system controls and orchestrates all that. And we don't often think about it, right? We just talked about it. We don't have to think about these things because it's done for us. We've been created perfectly so that intelligence can run over and through and send messages and tell your body how to function. Now, that alone would allow us to be healthy all the time, right? So here's what we've also discovered, is that interference to that system exists, okay, and causes incoordination and lack of ease in the body, and pretty soon disease and symptoms and all these things start to develop. So now, what can we do about it? Now, chiropractors are the only types of doctors that are trained to detect the most common type of nerve interference, and that's what we call a vertebral subluxation. A subluxation is a big word for a misalignment that puts pressure on the nerve system. And so it's a bone in your spine that's out of place, putting pressure on the nerves and affecting those messages going from your brain to your body, wherever those messages go, whether it be your heart, your lungs, your liver, you name it. All that function is coordinated by that nerve system. Now, that alone still wouldn't help you, right? And so here's the final piece, is the adjustment, okay? A chiropractic adjustment is a procedure that we do to help restore the integrity of the spine and release that pressure on that nerve so that those messages can travel clearly to wherever they're designed to be. You know, a pretty simple message, but yet it can be as scientific as you want it to be, but here's the thing, in order to get it out there, it needs to be very simple to those you're going to share it with. Okay, and I assume you're going to share it, right? Because now you have a personal responsibility. And I'm going to tell you why. Here's why. Mike just came into my office last week. He had been, came in a year ago, but just came in again last week. He's been under care for the past year. And he came in a severe state. He was at his wit's end. He didn't know what to do. His life was out of control, literally and figuratively. He was having severe vertigo. And a friend who was in my office cared enough to share this message that we're asking you to share as well. And said, hey, have you tried chiropractic? He had already been to the hospital several times. He had been to the neurologist. He had had the CAT scan, the MRI, all these things that said there was nothing wrong with him. And so the answer was to give him some drugs, which also obviously wasn't the answer. And it didn't do anything for him except make him more sick. And so his friend cared enough to share chiropractic. And so Mike came into our office with his whole family that day. I won't forget it. And I offered him three things. I offered him hope, okay, that there is a solution, that his body's designed to be healthy. Number two, that there's an awareness of that incredible system, that nerve system, that intelligence that runs over and through that system. And number three, a specific chiropractic adjustment to restore the integrity of that system, okay, to take the pressure off, allow those messages to go from the brain to the body and have life and health restored. And so almost immediately his balance was restored. He, as he put it, he was human again. He could actually get up and go to work and function and get his driver's license back and all these things. And so he's relating this journey to me a year later, and he's in my office and has tears in his eyes. And sometimes as a chiropractor, you take for granted just how you impact people's lives, how you save lives. And your chiropractor probably does too, because we expect you to get well and everyone who comes to our office. And he told me how chiropractic had shifted his life and that he was not only no longer having vertigo ever again, but also allergies that he had suffered from for over 40 years were gone, and that his vision had improved, and that the regular visits once to twice a month to his MD for colds and flus and allergies and rashes had stopped. He hadn't had to go back to his medical doctor for those routine visits in a whole year. Coincidence? I think not, and now you know too. And so that's a big deal to that one man, right? And that's the big idea of chiropractic, okay? Because for him, the concept of that intelligence, that awareness, that nerve system coordinates his health and life, and that interference to that system can and does exist in what's called a subluxation, a misalignment, was a big deal. And that next part was the action. Someone got him into the office, and then I provided the adjustment to help that body be restored. So we're asking you to do the same, okay? And here's what I'm asking you to do. Get up right now, go to the front desk, and grab a whole stack of cards and share this message with your friends, your family. Make sure your family, your kids are getting adjusted for sure, or at least getting checked. And take that message out into your community. Go to your civic groups, go to your churches, wherever you have influence, and say, hey, my chiropractor would love to come speak to your group. He has this incredible message of health and healing and full potential of life that I would love for you to share or help us share with the community. And that big deal to that one man, if you multiply that by 10, by 1,000, by 10,000, by 1,000,000, by 200 million, pretty soon you've affected not only that man's life and saved his life, but affected the lives of the community, to the state, and the nation, and eventually the world. And that's the big idea of chiropractic that we're sharing with you today, and that you now have a responsibility to share too, because you're an ethical and moral person, right? So we know that when a person is physically healthy, that they're going to start to act differently, right? They're going to be more available for expanding their mental and emotional health, their physical, their spiritual health, their relationship health. That's how this idea really affects the entire community and planet. So I'd like to end this with a quote from B.J. Palmer. He's the developer of chiropractic, and he said once, "You never know how far-reaching something you think, say, or do today will affect millions tomorrow." And that's the big idea of chiropractic. That this message can absolutely affect one person's life or a million, as we continue to share this. So I know you'll do the right thing, share the message, and ask your chiropractor if you have any questions.